Hey guys, this is Kenneth here. I just wanted to make a quick video about what happens when you burn one of these things without water in it and what it takes to fix it. So you can see I've taken this control panel off and it is just a mess. Without the water insulating the tank, the outside of the tank overheats if there's any amount of fire in it. It does not have to be a big fire either. Even a small fire will do some pretty serious damage. Already started working on the back here, taking off these pipes. These valves have to be replaced. And you can see this electrical box back here got fried as well as the fan motor got some melted stuff on it. Capacitor got melted. And the water level evidently came down to about here because I think it looks like this pipe had actually broken and pulled off, and so it had drained the water down to this point. So below that you can see it's fine. I didn't touch that pump. The solenoid's fine, that stayed fairly cool, and the pipes below there are fine. What I'm going to do, I've got to splice the wires down here, run them back into this box, rewire a switch and a plug there. You'll need a 3-wire going to the front of the stove. So this is the wire going up to the control, and you need a neutral and a ground, as well as a power wire going up to the control to take power there, and then a power wire coming back to send power to the fan and damper. So I'm gonna do some work and then show you some clips as I go along. Okay, so I got the plumbing done. My next objective is to get this wire replaced, which is this one going from the back to the front. So I'm going to take off some paneling here, and I probably won't worry about taking that other wire out unless it's pretty easy to do and fairly accessible, but we'll see. A lot of times I've got to lift the edge of the roof up to get another wire in there. So a lot of different models are different. On all the C series and Mf series, these are pretty much all going to be similar. This is a Mf10. So there's some screws on the rooftop, and then to lift up the corner of the roof you have this kind of gable thing here, and if you take out this screw here, it makes it able to flex, and you can lift up the corner of the roof to get to these screws up in here, and also just run another wire up there. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this panel off so I can access the wire running back to front a little bit better, as well as maybe get behind here and get a wire up to the light. Okay, got that panel off down there. And you can see this one is a little different than some of the other ones. On some of the stoves, this cable was actually run behind the insulation, which was a bad idea, obviously, because being against the tank, it's very quick to overheat and melt the wires. But this one was run on the outside. So part of this wire is good. Like, this is still flexible. When this is melted, this gets all firm and brittle, and you bend it and you can hear it cracking inside. But once we get up to here, I mean, this is trash anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it and not try to salvage any of that wire in there. And I'll probably just run it alongside and just leave it in there. So in here, I'm just gonna clip all this off right here, as well as going up to the light. And that's the two. What a mess. So in here, you can see the dry well. That's the place where the temperature probe goes. And this is the snap disc, which is obviously burnt off. And we'll just pop that out of there. There we go. And we'll put another one in there then. So we have an extra hole here. I could have drilled one if there wasn't one, but got an extra hole there, and I'm gonna run a wire to a connector there. So here we have a new high limit switch. Okay, got a connector in there. Just wire into our control housing here, and this is just a regular 14.3 Romex. It's just got the extra wire. We'll use that red wire for sending our signal back to our pump. I mean, not to our pump, to our fan and damper. That's going to be the power wire for that. So I just ran that wire along with the other one, zip tied it together, and that's tucked back down in the back there. Here's a new snap disc. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in this spot right here. That's the high limit for if the stove goes over temperature, it will break the connection. We'll run this red wire off of one of these terminals, and then our fan signal will go to the other one, so it'll just break the fan signal if it goes over temperature, so it can't run the fan and damper. The wire to the light goes up through that hole in the top there and just out to the front here, and I just lifted up the roof to get it out. So I'm going to put a new wire in and just use Romex. Okay, got the wire run to the light. It's going up there and popped it out the front. Next, it's time to address this bit of awfulness, and that's going to involve a hammer. So I want to get this all cleaned up. These switches have to go. The control is obviously melted into a puddle, so I'm going to get this wired up and wire Aranco up, and then I will show you what does what on this board. Okay, got this Aranco wired up here. I'm not going to go into great detail. You can pause this if you want to look at it. We got power coming into the 40 terminal, and then power jumper down to the C down here that only open on the relay side. So Aranco in that sleeve. A lot of times it takes some persuasion with a hammer to go in, but so now we've got our wire tails, our switches are installed, new switches, and I'm going to put a screw, just a little 1/4 inch screw in that hole there to hold the Aranco in place. Okay, this might look a little confusing, but what we have here, we have main power coming in, and that supplies the center terminal on both of these switches. Then on the top switch, which is the furnace switch, we have power coming out, and that supplies power to the Aranco. And then on the bottom terminal, we have just power coming out, and that is going to go to the light wire. So that is going to connect to that wire that I put up there to go to the light on the front of the stove. And then this red wire is coming straight out of the Aranco, and that is our power to our fan, and I put a connector on the end to go onto the snap disc. So that red wire is going to go on that top terminal, and I've got the bottom terminal going on that red wire going to the back of the stove. Okay, red wire is going to the snap disc. We've got the light wire going to the light there, the switch, and then we have all the neutrals tied together there, and then main power coming from the back of the stove goes to power the center of each switch and powers the Ryko and the light. So next I'm going to put the probe in, and this probe just inserts into that dry well in the tank, and I'll probably have to clean that thing out a little bit before it'll go in. Okay, probe is stuck in the dry well and it's all wired up here, so I'm going to put this back together. Okay, next job is this back here. So we have our wire running front to back right here. I've taken this cover off already, and I've just got to get rid of all that junk in there, and then probably clip these wires back a little ways. It looks like they're both tied together in that box, so I'm going to take that apart and look at that a little bit more carefully, and then we'll get power running to this, and I'll replace the wires over here to the fan as well as down to the damper. All right, we are finally almost done. I've got this wired so that this switch sends power to both this outlet here as well as to the control in the front, and got a new fan on. And I just went ahead and used the conduit and just pulled fresh wires through it. I've still got to put the connectors on the ends of those to go on the damper solenoid. Fan's wired, and I'm getting pretty close to turning on power here. Okay, got power on. So we will check this. Put the switch on. Go here and see. Works. Turn on this Ryko, get it set up. So we can see the numbers there. It's going to send power here in a second. Set it up to set it up to a 10-degree diff. H1. There goes the fan and damper. Fan's running. We got a leaking flange down here. I'll have to fix that. Fan's running. Damper's open. We are good to go, boys. Just gotta get wire tails on these pumps yet, and then I will call it a day. But that is pretty much a complete rewire of an Mf10,000.